The Stakeholders Unite component of your IDSL project is a pretty critical component. It's a component that some people sometimes overlook or they try to rush through, but it actually is a core component for designing your entire initiative. With the Stakeholders Unite component, what you're asked to do is to consider all of the stakeholders that might be related to the initiative you're developing. And how might those people be engaged? How can they be resources for your project? How can they be involved in your project? How can they inform you about what your students and your school community really need from you in terms of this project? How can you connect with these resources and these stakeholders to better understand your school community, the needs around the initiative you're developing, and what the most positive outcomes could look like? So what I'm asking you to do is to consider the Stakeholders Unite component as not just a reporting component, but as a planning component for your project. So when you look down this list of potential stakeholders, and there are other ones you could certainly add, and you will certainly not all of these would be stakeholders that would be engaged in your project, but as you look down this list and consider potential stakeholders who are engaged with your students or maybe are related in some way to your project and your initiative, think about what are the strategies that you could utilize to connect with these resources. What might they bring to your project? How could they help you expand your understanding of it? And try to incorporate that into your planning. So when you think about the school librarian, if the school librarian gets to see, if they're in the rotation and they see many of the students in your school in a month, they get to see everybody in the school in a month, then how could they help you connect with the students? If they have resources that are readily available to you, if the library is a really good place if you're planning a career fair, that's a really good place to connect with that. You might start there. One example of this is the school counselor and school librarian at North Pitt designed a really cool career fair where they had individuals to come in and set up tables and have the students went around to interview each of these people to talk about their careers and what training they did to prepare for those careers, the personal fulfillment that they got from them, and they had people from all walks of life for this project. And so it became like a human library. They had these people in there as resources, and they also, the librarian had pulled some books that were related to each career and had them available for the students to check out. And the school counselor had worked with the advanced English classes to prepare the students for this interview process, to help the students develop questions that would be appropriate for the interview, to help them prepare for bringing in their presenting themselves in a way that was very professional. So they teamed with the English teacher and the librarian for that project. But you could just start out planning a career fair on your own and think, well, I'll just use this space or that space and do all the planning on your own. This Stakeholders Unite section of your measure gives you the opportunity to think bigger than that, to think, this is what I want to plan. These are the people that hold some of those resources or great information. They could hold the intellectual resources or the physical or financial resources that they could bring to expand your initiative. They also could hold, like I said before, the information that about the culture of the community around the topic that you're focused on. They are resources. These are resources. They're not just stakeholders in your project. They're also resources for your project. So this week we're going to be talking about building relationships and interdisciplinary collaboration, school-based mental health teams. Basically this week what we're talking about is how does a school counselor reach out and work with others. This Stakeholders Unite component is the component of your project that is focused on that, and we'll be discussing it further. Please use this component of the measure in your planning so you can expand your project from the beginning and have the strongest project possible. Thank you.